Alcatraz is legendary. The Rock, the escape-proof prison in the middle of San Francisco Bay, but behind the guard towers and steel bars are stories they don't put in the tour guide. Join me as we delve into the lesser-known tales of this infamous island. Here are 5 weird facts about Alcatraz you probably never heard. Let's start with the most famous. In 1962, 3 inmates, Frank Morris, John Anglin, and Clarence Anglin, escaped Alcatraz using one of the most meticulously planned escapes in history. For months, they chipped away at the concrete around their cell's ventilation grills using discarded spoons and makeshift tools. They concealed these growing holes with cardboard, patiently working night after night. To fool the guards during nightly inspections, they crafted life-size dummy heads. These were no crude creations, they were fashioned from soap, toilet paper, and even human hair, making them eerily realistic in the dim cell block lighting. On the night of June 11th, they put their plan into action. They placed the dummy heads in their beds, creating the illusion that they were sleeping soundly. Then, they slipped through the holes behind their cells and into the network of service corridors within the prison walls. They navigated this labyrinthine space, eventually reaching a ventilation shaft that led to the roof. Emerging onto the rooftop, they then had to bypass the prison's formidable security fences. They had prepared for this as well, fashioning a makeshift raft from raincoats they had carefully acquired and painstakingly stitched together. Under the cloak of night, they slipped into the water and disappeared into the darkness. To this day, their fate remains a mystery. The FBI closed the case, with a big fat maybe, leaving the world to ponder the enduring mystery of the Alcatraz escapees. Now picture this, the cold steel bars of Alcatraz, the clanging of cell doors, the watchful eyes of guards, and the sound of jazz music drifting through the air. Yes, you heard that right. Alcatraz had a music scene. Inmates, even the most hardened criminals, were allowed to check out instruments and form bands. One band, known as the Rock Islanders, became something of a legend within the prison walls. Their music, a mix of jazz, blues, and swing, provided a brief respite from the harsh realities of prison life. And guess who joined in on the musical merriment? None other than Al Capone, the notorious gangster. He too sought solace in music, playing the banjo as part of the prison band. It was a strange juxtaposition, the sound of jazz and laughter echoing within the walls of one of America's most infamous prisons. Here's something else that might surprise you. Alcatraz wasn't just a prison, it was also a community. Believe it or not, there was a whole neighborhood on the island, inhabited by the families of the prison guards and staff. These families lived surprisingly normal lives, considering their unusual address. Children rode their tricycles along the island's paths, their laughter echoing against the backdrop of the imposing prison building. Wives chatted over fences, exchanging gossip and recipes just like any other suburban neighborhood. They had their own grocery store, a bowling alley for entertainment, and even a ferry that transported them to the mainland for shopping trips and outings. The children on Alcatraz even had their own schoolhouse, a one-room building where they received their education. Imagine being a child, attending school just a stone's throw away from some of the country's most notorious criminals. Life on Alcatraz for these families was a strange mix of the ordinary and the extraordinary. They created a sense of normalcy within this unusual setting. Now let's delve into some of the more unusual aspects of Alcatraz's security measures. In the 1950s, as technology advanced, the prison decided to up its game. They implemented an innovative security system known as acoustic fences. These were essentially underwater sensors designed to detect any attempts by inmates to escape by swimming. The idea was simple, yet ingenious. If an inmate attempted to swim across the bay, they would trip the sensors, triggering an alarm and alerting the guards to the escape attempt. It seemed like a foolproof plan. However, there was one crucial factor they failed to consider: seals. Yes, those adorable, whiskered creatures that frequent San Francisco Bay proved to be the downfall of Alcatraz's high-tech security system. The sonar, designed to detect human swimmers, couldn't differentiate between a human and a seal. As a result, the system was constantly being triggered by the playful antics of the local seal population. It detected movement in the water and sounded the alarm. The problem was, it wasn't detecting escaping inmates. It was detecting seals going about their daily business. And now, for our final Alcatraz revelation. The common misconception is that Alcatraz was shut down because it was simply too dangerous, too much of a liability. But the truth is far less dramatic and far more mundane. The real reason Alcatraz closed its doors was saltwater corrosion. Yes, the relentless assault of the salty sea air, year after year, took its toll on the island fortress. The prison's infrastructure, from the plumbing to the cell bars, was slowly but surely being eaten away by rust. It became a maintenance nightmare, with repairs becoming increasingly costly and time-consuming. The harsh marine environment was unforgiving, and the cost of maintaining Alcatraz as a functioning prison became simply unsustainable. It was estimated to cost 3 times more to operate than a mainland prison. So, in 1963, the decision was made. Alcatraz, once a symbol of American penal power, was deemed no longer fit for purpose. So yeah, Alcatraz was way more than just lockdown and legends. It was a place of unexpected contrasts, where the harsh realities of prison life intersected with surprising glimpses of humanity. It was a place where kids rode tricycles, gangsters played banjo, jazz echoed off cell bars, and fake heads fooled guards for weeks. This was real. Like, subscribe and stay weird.